Okay, so picture this. You're in the pharmacy, maybe late at night, staring at that huge wall of supplements. You just want something to help you sleep, something
Yeah.
natural, right?
Yeah, that's a really common scenario.
Yeah.
And it's exactly what our source material dives into, this search for a plant-based fix for, well, insomnia or just trouble sleeping.
And we're not talking about some brand new chemical compound here. We're focusing today on a really traditional herbal blend, something that's been around for ages.
Exactly. It's rooted in history, but the way it's sold now, on a modern shelf, that
Mm-hmm.
demands a really modern look at it. We have to weigh that history against current science and safety.
Okay, let's unpack the blend itself. It's often marketed as this kind of classic combination. Our sources point to four main herbs, names you've probably seen before.
Hmm.
We've got Melissa officinalis, that's lemon balm. Then Valeriana officinalis, the famous valerian. Passiflora incarnata, which is passionflower. And Tilia cordata linden, or lime flower.
Yeah, it's like the classic sleep quartet, you could say. And our mission today, really, is to get past the nice rustic labels.
Right.
We need to pin down what these herbs traditionally promised, look at the actual risks, reported some you expect, maybe some you wouldn't, and crucially explain why the way supplements are regulated or not regulated means you, the consumer, end up having to be incredibly careful. Your own safety officer, almost.
So let's start with the appeal. Why this blend? What's the traditional promise here coming from, say, European or Mediterranean herbal history?
Well, traditionally, and this carries through to modern Western herbal medicine too, this specific combination is used because the herbs are thought to have three linked properties.
Okay.
First, they're seen as calming. Second, they're anxiolytic. That's a technical term for reducing anxiety, sort of easing nervous tension.
Got it. Anxiolytic.
And third, they're sedative. The idea is you quiet the mind, reduce the anxiety, and then gently nudge the body towards sleep. It treats the mental buzz and the physical restlessness.
That sounds perfect, honestly. Natural, time-tested, peaceful. But here's the big but from the source material. Just because it's natural doesn't mean it's harmless, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
That's probably the most critical point. We have to pause and do some real due diligence, which, let's be honest, is hard when you're just desperate for sleep.
Yeah, you just want relief?
Exactly. And assuming that centuries of use automatically equals safe or gentle is, well, it's a dangerous assumption in the supplement world. Anything potent enough to have an effect can also have unintended effects. It's interacting with your body's chemistry.
Okay, so let's move from that promise to the potential problems. If someone takes this blend and it does work, it makes them sleepy, what's the most common, maybe expected side effect they need to be ready for?
The main one is just that sedation carrying over, residual drowsiness. But the sources get specific. We're talking daytime, sleepiness, feeling groggy, and even dizziness.
Dizziness, okay.
Yeah, so if you take this, you have to consider, am I going to be sharp tomorrow morning? It impacts thinking, reflexes, driving, operating machinery. It's the trade-off for sedation.
And it's not just about feeling sleepy. The sources mention other physical issues too, things beyond just grogginess. What else comes up frequently?
Right, we see reports of mild stomach upset, things like nausea, maybe some diarrhea, and headaches pop up too. It's a reminder these aren't just gentle teas. You're taking concentrated plant compounds, and your body has to process them.
But the really surprising stuff, for me anyway, reading the sources, were the effects that seemed to go completely against the reason you'd take it in the first place. Taking it for calm sleep and getting the opposite.
Ah, yes. That's where the individual body chemistry really shows its variability. Two things stand out there. First, vivid dreams.
Vivid dreams from a sleep aid.
Yeah, it's often linked specifically to the valerian in the blend. The thinking is, while valerian generally depresses the nervous system, it might mess with your REM sleep cycle in a way that makes dreams much more intense or memorable.
Wow. So you trade insomnia for, like, intense nightly cinema.
Potentially.
Yeah.
But the second one is even stranger. Sometimes, though it's rare, people experience restlessness or agitation. It's called a paradoxical reaction.
Paradoxical.
Yeah, you take something meant to calm you down, a depressant, and your system reacts with excitation instead. It perfectly shows that natural doesn't mean predictable for everyone, especially with complex plant chemicals.
That makes you look again at the ingredients. Valerian seems like the heavy hitter here, right? It's known for being strongly sedative. What do the sources say specifically about valerian and his warnings?
Valerian definitely gets singled out as the ingredient needing the most caution. Its sedative action seems to work directly on the brain and nervous system, probably by interacting with GABA receptors. Those are the main calm-down messengers in your brain.
Okay, so it's acting like a pharmaceutical in a way.
In its mechanism, yes.
Yeah.
And that leads to some serious warnings moving beyond just side effects.
What are those key warnings for valerian?
Okay, first big one. While it's generally seen as likely safe for short-term use,
Longer term. Okay.
there's a documented risk. If you use it consistently for a long time, you could experience withdrawal symptoms when you stop. That suggests physical dependence, which is a major red flag for something you buy off the shelf.
Withdrawal from an herbal supplement. That's concerning. But then there's the question of whether it even reliably works. Our sources mentioned groups like the NCCIH and NIH being kind of uncertain about its effectiveness.
Yeah, they often term it inconclusive, and that's a really important word for people to understand.
What does inconclusive actually mean here? Does it mean it's useless?
No, not necessarily useless. It means the big, rigorous clinical trials haven't consistently shown a strong enough effect to meet the standard for medical proof. So for maybe every study showing it helps people fall asleep faster or sleep longer, there's another study showing, well, not much difference compared to a placebo.
So you're kind of rolling the dice, relying on tradition or maybe personal experience, but without solid scientific backup for everyone.
That's a good way to put it. You're potentially risking side effects, maybe even withdrawal down the line, for a benefit that isn't scientifically guaranteed across the board. And that uncertainty connects directly to the regulatory situation.
Right. If the benefits are shaky and there are real risks like dependence and weird side effects, why isn't this regulated more strictly, like a prescription medicine? Why is it on the consumer to be so careful?
That's the million-dollar question, isn't it? It comes down to the regulatory gap, certainly in the U.S. Dietary supplements fall under a different set of rules than prescription drugs. They don't need that strict FDA pre-approval, proving they're both safe and effective before they can be sold.
So the whole burden of proof is flipped. For a drug, the company proves it works and is safe first. For a supplement, it's different.
Completely different. The manufacturer is responsible for ensuring safety and accurate labeling, generally speaking, but there's no mandatory pre-market testing for, say, the purity of the ingredients, the actual potency, or even if your body can absorb it properly, bioavailability. So without that mandatory oversight, the job of checking quality, understanding the risks, figuring out if it interacts with other things you take, it all falls on you, the individual. That's a huge burden, especially when you're just trying to get some sleep.
In that context, the lack of oversight leads us to what seems like the single most important warning in the source material. The one thing everyone needs to hear before trying any sedative supplement.
This absolutely has to be highlighted. If you are taking any prescription medications at all, think pain relief, anxiety meds, other sleep aids, even some antidepressants, you absolutely must avoid taking supplements like this blend that could add to or multiply the drowsiness effect.
Okay, let's slow down on that. Additive or synergistic drowsiness. What does that actually mean in terms of danger?
It means the combined effect is greater than the sum of its parts. It's not just 1 + 1 = 2. It could be 1 + 1 = 5 in terms of sedation. Think about it. Maybe you're on a prescription painkiller, or a muscle relaxant, or even an older antihistamine for allergies. These often have some sedative effect, depressing your central nervous system a bit. If you then add something potent, like Valerian on top,
You're amplifying that effect dangerously.
exactly, you could push your system too far. The real danger there is respiratory depression. Your breathing could slow down or even stop. Or you could become so impaired you can't function or react in an emergency. It massively increases the risk of accidental overdose or serious harm.
So the bottom line is unavoidable.
Always talk to your doctor or pharmacist before mixing any supplement, especially a sedative one, with any prescription medication. It's not just advice, it's essential for safety.
Okay, so let's try to wrap this up. We've taken this deep dive into a traditional herbal blend, lemon balm, valerian, passionflower, linden, meant for sleep and anxiety.
And the synthesis seems pretty clear, doesn't it? While there's a strong tradition behind these herbs, that history doesn't cancel out the modern risks. We're looking at potential dependence with valerian, scientific evidence on effectiveness that's still inconclusive, and really critically, the danger of mixing them with other medications causing excessive drowsiness. You have to approach this old remedy with very modern eyes.
It really makes you pause before grabbing that bottle off the shelf, doesn't it? You're just looking for help, and suddenly you're navigating this complex, sort of unregulated space. But the source material ended on a really thoughtful note, almost a shift in perspective.
Yeah, that was fascinating. After digging into all the issues around taking these herbs, the side effects, the regulations, the risks the author mentioned, being now more keen on growing and cultivating these herbs instead.
Growing them instead of taking them.
Exactly. We've spent all this time talking about the complexities and potential dangers of ingesting these plants as supplements, trying to get a specific pharmacological effect. But maybe, the author suggests, the better interaction isn't medicinal consumption, but simply appreciation.
Huh. Like enjoying the scent of lemon balm or the process of tending the plants.
Precisely. Focusing on the connection to the natural world itself, the beauty, the cultivation, rather than viewing these plants purely as unregulated, potentially risky tools to fix a problem. That difference between using nature pharmacologically versus simply appreciating it is definitely something interesting to think about.